What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be watching Courage's video and talking about some of the problems within Fortnite. Obviously, there has been countless discussion over recent weeks about how the game is dying or people are losing interest in the game. This video isn't about the problems as much and more just about the solutions, which I think is more interesting to talk about, like suggestions he has. And what makes this video very interesting is that the VP of Epic actually replied to a thread about this post. So this lady tweeted out the video and said it was good. This random commenter replied and said the points are good, but will Epic listen? Clearly not. And then the VP of Epic Games responded and said they are. And I think this is very interesting because obviously the VP isn't the person that's going to go in and code the updates, but he's in charge of the people that are. And if this feedback has made it all the way to him, then I'm sure like the people actively working on the game and like actually in charge of the balance of the game and things of that nature, the people that could implement these things have surely seen this video and other videos with countless suggestions from the community. So the fact that Epic has publicly acknowledged this video, I think makes it very interesting. Courage is somebody who gets a lot of hate recently because most of his content is geared towards like a younger audience, but he is someone who has been around the game pretty much ever since it came out. I think he was streaming like before there was seasons in Fortnite, and has played every season and every iteration of the game. So I think his opinion and his points are something that are actually relevant. Let me know what you guys think should change in Fortnite. His video will be linked down in the description below. If you enjoy this, give it a like, subscribe. Let's get into it.
Is Fortnite dying? The Battle Royale mode has seen less players than ever before, and the decline has been steady. With Roblox continuing to explode in popularity and top streamers and content creators trying out other games,
I will be playing Roblox.
Is
these traders.
Fortnite finally over, or are there things Epic Games can do to save it? Today, I'm going to be covering 20 things Epic can do to save Fortnite, and it starts right at the top. Epic has become too reliant on collabs for Fortnite. You know, back in the day when there would be a collab for Fortnite, it wouldn't just take over the whole game. It would seamlessly weave into what Fortnite had going on, and it seemed like it was the honor of the collab to join Fortnite and ride Fortnite's wave versus Fortnite using the collab as a crutch. In the most recent event when Superman just kind of came in and eliminated the bug, instead of...
That was anticlimactic. Which, like, I'm not the biggest fan of the events one way or the other, but, like, the fact that the event was, like, a huge build-up and then Superman just pulled up and ended everything, it was like, what?
Superman being part of the event, he just kind of took it over, and I don't know, it just seemed like it really killed the hype for me. At number 2.
I wish he had an example of what a good collab would be. Or, like, what collab was done well. Because, obviously, we've had, like, this season, the Power Rangers, we have, like, the big Megazord update right now where the Megazord is, like, a central point in the game. I wonder what an example of, like, a decent collab would be, or collab done well, because I feel like the thing with collabs is they either do too much, like the Power Ranger, the Superman, where it's like a big transformation thing, or if it's just skins in the shop, people say it's lame. Like I feel like getting that balance right is like hard, and I don't even know what a good example like of a collab would be. Maybe Dragon Ball, I liked that one. Ninja Turtles I liked, but most of the ones I liked were just like a reskin of a Fortnite item for the collab. Like the turtle items were like a reskin of the kinetic blade. The Nimbus Cloud from Dragon Ball was like a reskin of the witch's broom.
Fortnite has become too...
I think this is the biggest problem in the game right now.
Formulaic. Back in chapter 1, there was mystery on what would go on. You know, Kevin the Cube randomly spawning, or meteorites beginning to fall from the sky. It had this feeling of you couldn't miss a day of Fortnite because you never knew what was going to happen. Whereas instead now, it seems like a lot of those mini events or things that happen are very obviously time gated, and even down to when seasons launch and the kind of cadence of what Fortnite is at. If you think about it, back with the black hole, when season X ended, we didn't know what was going on with that, and it kind of caught everyone off guard. Put us on the edge of our seats. I want to see more of that brought.
So when he was saying the game is too formulaic, I thought he was talking about like the mid-match objectives and stuff. Like for a lot of recent seasons, it's like you land at a medallion POI, you get that medallion, you go push the other medallions that are in the same place every game. This season, you go for the bunkers maybe, and then you go for Megazord. Like there's a consistent flow that pretty much every game follows. I thought that's what he was going to talk about. But also the game has gotten very formulaic. Like look at Chapter 6, every season has had some sort of transformation mythic. And when we got it with Godzilla, it was fresh and it was interesting and it was exciting. And then then we got the Star Destroyer, then we got Superman, now we got the Megazord. It's like they all do basically the same thing, or it's like a similar mechanic. And it just doesn't hit the same because they run it every season. We also kind of had this with like the mini passes. Like Chapter 4, they started doing the mini passes and it was great when they first did it. and then every season thereafter had one, and it got to the point where people are burnt out on it. Seems like whenever they find a new kind of gimmick or thing, they run that thing into the ground until people hate it. But like mix and matching them, like maybe one season has a transformation mythic, maybe one season has like a mini pass. I feel like doing stuff like that would work. I think for the Prime Gary, enjoy your sub edge emotes and ad free viewing. And then also cutting down on leaks, I think would be a big deal for this, because he talked about like the sense of mystery being gone in the game. And I think that's true. In the early days, there was such like a significant sense of mystery of people not knowing what was going to happen next. But now it's always like well known in advance because of leaks and stuff. And I just think people have been playing the game longer. Like end of chapter 1, we weren't knowing what to expect, or we weren't expecting a new chapter and a new map because it hadn't happened before. But it's like you only get that first happening of it one time, you know?
Back to Fortnite. At number 3. Honestly, the overall Battle Royale genre is slowing down. Battle Royale had its heyday moment with PUBG, with Fortnite, with Apex Legends, but now that genre seems to have been kind of exhausted a little bit and has been slowing down. So I think it's up to Fortnite to continue to adapt the Battle Royale genre, because Fortnite's Battle Royale is still what gets people downloading and playing the game. At number 4, I think Epic really needs to make rebooting much easier.
Oh, that's
we've
interesting.
had other modes like Reload introduced and Blitz introduced, which have really sped up the game and have made people value their life less, or have given them a reason to just back out or respawn when they get eliminated. Well, in Battle Royale, it's still a big thing. When you get eliminated, you're dead for much longer than these other modes. I would like to see Epic make it where rebooting your friends is much easier and isn't something that alerts the whole map when it's going down. At number 5,
I was actually talking about that today. That's why I said it's interesting. But in Chapter 6, Season 2, they made it to where you can buy teammates cards with gold, and that is carried over to make it like easier to reboot. And that was kind of one of the hurdles of rebooting, was that you had to get your teammate's card, and then you had to bring it to the van and sit there for that period of time. If I could have them change anything with rebooting, it would be how long you have to sit there at the van. Like, I don't mind getting the card. I feel like that's a mechanic that makes sense. But the amount of time it actually takes to reboot your teammate, I feel like is way too long. And that is something that I don't know, they could maybe do. Like, make it to where if you get the card, it goes faster or something. But if you have to buy the card, then that takes a decent amount of time. And then once you get the card, you can put it in quickly. But yeah, if I could change anything with rebooting, it would just be like how long you have to physically sit there at the van, not getting the card.
There are too many bots.
Also, when I was talking about this on stream earlier, my chat was saying that like they should make the cards cost more the more you have to reboot the same player throughout the match. Like maybe it's 500, then 750, and then 1,000 if you're rebooting the same person several times over the course of the game and buying the card each time.
In Fortnite, I think everyone would agree with this. I think from top to bottom, it's a known issue. Top players, you don't want them fighting against noobs. But at the same time, don't make it where players who've been playing the game for years no longer feel any sort of excitement around the game because all they're facing are AI. Decrease the amount of bots, but then make sure no game can end with bots. Well, right.
That's a big one. The bots making it last kind of kills all momentum of the game. But also, like, I've talked about the bots so many times, but to me, the game just feels so hollow with bots, and I feel like that's something that makes it way less like addicting than it was in the early days, but I don't think they'll ever completely get rid of it.
Right now, if almost every game is ending with bots, it completely kills that big payoff moment, and it makes the cycle of playing games of Fortnite feel very dull. At number 7, add a casual mode. It's simple as that, but we shouldn't have to have a mode where you're only facing real people be named expert mode. No, we should instead have a casual mode that people can go and play. This is a
I agree with this so much.
big one. We need a
So like I said, I don't enjoy having AI in the game personally, but if somebody wants to play a mode versus 99 bots and that's how they enjoy playing the game, that doesn't affect me at all, and I've never minded that. Even if it counts for crowns or counts for wins, I don't care. But the fact that like the counter, so Fortnite is a PvP game, right? And whenever bots are brought up, people say just play ranked instead. But I feel like the inverse of that should be how it is. Like, the game should be a PvP game. And then if you want to play the bot mode, you play the bot mode. But the default, I feel like, shouldn't be the bot mode. And then everyone has to go play a different game mode to escape AI, which doesn't even work because there's AI in ranked. And then ranked also has many problems with like queue times and limited servers, limited loot pool, all that stuff. But I've never agreed that like the default should just be 80 AI in a lobby And then if you disagree with that, you need to go play a different game mode. I feel like it should be flipped.
Better in-game storyline. Back in the start of Fortnite, people were on the edge of their seat trying to figure out where the Fortnite storyline was going. It was something that engaged the entire community. People would get fired up about what's going on. They'd want to learn about these new Fortnite characters like Jones, like the Seven, like the IO, like Midas, the Cube Queen, anything like that. Think about Chapter 6. We've had demons, we've had Japan-themed start, we've had superheroes
Star Wars randomly showed up for a month.
We've had bugs pop up. None of it makes sense, and it seems like Seasons is...
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with the storyline. I think some lady joined a portal and then fought the demon or something, and then for some reason we started robbing banks as a result of that, and then Star Wars happened, and then I think the gold we robbed from the banks was used to fund the Supernova Academy. And then the heroes fought the demon from prior, and then now there's bugs that happened because the tentacle monster got eliminated by Superman. The storyline has always just been very bizarre, especially recently. Like, even in the early days, it was kind of all over the place, but now this is definitely more of a factor.
Jump place to place with no real payoff for a larger storyline that happens and develops
fever dream?
across
Facts.
a whole chapter. I think that there should be a storyline that builds from the start of the chapter to the end, instead of there being this bouncing around that doesn't seem seamless. That ties in perfectly to my next point.
I'm trying to remember what the, like, what would be an example of a storyline that was done well? Maybe Chapter 3. So we got to the island, and then the IO drilled through the island, and then we fought the IO in a war. The 7 won and now controlled the 0 point, but them freeing the 0 point exposed it to outside threats, and then those outside threats came, and that was the Chrome. Chapter 3 might honestly be the most cohesive storyline we've had in Fortnite. Even though the ending kind of was weird with, like, the fracture event.
I think each chapter should end with a major storyline, large...
Do you guys think that every chapter should end with a major storyline event? Or should it end with a Snoop Dogg and Ice Spice concert in Times Square? Like, clearly Times Square is better, right?
Scale event, like a monster versus mech or a Cube Queen map flip. You know, those are storylines that develop over seasons, over a chapter. And instead of it feeling like you can kind of just leave Fortnite and you won't miss anything, reward the players who stick around and make it be like a here's what you missed sort of moment instead of a none of this matters sort of moment. At number 10, I want to see Fortnite bring back better rewards. Back in Chapter 1, Season 9, we had the awesome Fort Bites. And if you did the 100 Fort Bite challenge,
these were dope. Each day, a new Fort Bite was unlocked, so it was like a pseudo daily challenge. And then I believe once 70 of them were unlocked, you could get the skin. And myself and a lot of other players waited until the last moment to do them, and then it was like a struggle. But if you did it day by day, it wasn't that big of a deal.
you unlocked a super cool skin. That skin is obviously ultra rare now because you had to be around then to get it. It was a skin that rewarded you for checking out the map, seeing what was new in Fortnite, interacting with players. You've not had anything like that in ages, and I think would be a great way to incentivize people to get on and interact with the map and see what's going on. It's one of my most popular videos in history because people love rare skins, especially ones that aren't locked behind a paywall like Renegade.
The ranked rewards could be a lot better. Recent ranked rewards have been very lackluster.
Raider and like the OG Skull Trooper skin. At number 11, this goes back to the storyline.
And like we know Fortnite can make dope cosmetics, right? Like they do a very good job of it, but yeah, the recent rank skins have been meh.
No more dialogue, storyline, big moments.
What does that
Earlier
mean?
in this chapter or in chapter 5, Peely got kidnapped. It was an awesome start to a storyline. It was something that I think was going to really fire up the community. One of the most beloved characters taken. Imagine the whole community having to rally together to save Peely. It would have been absolutely awesome. We just kind of got a dialogue box and
I
a
see.
loading screen of Peely on the back of one of the heroes being saved. And it was like, what? Imagine if there was an event around saving Peely. The community would have loved that. Everyone would have been fired up, and instead we just kind of got this awesome storyline that Epic was introducing just revealed to us in the lamest way. At number,
the same thing happened at the end of chapter 4 with the time machine. Like Kato Thorn was like bigged up as like some huge villain, and then the time machine was obviously an important thing and what led to us going back to chapter 1 for Fortnite OG. But they killed him off screen in a dialogue box from Shimmer Dusk. Like there was like having an event where we had to like fight Kato Thorn and steal the time machine and then go back through it. That would have been very hype and exciting. Obviously, the OG season was hyped anyway, so I guess they didn't need to spend the resources there. But yeah, the Kato, Thorn, Shimmer Dusk, I think, was like a time machine thing. Could have been a good event.
Number 12 is bring back community icons like Klombo and Kevin the Cube. Those were beloved things in Fortnite. You know, people loved seeing what was going to happen with Kevin the Cube. People loved seeing what was going to happen with Klombo. It was this thing that had everyone on the edge of their seats, and again, went back to what I mentioned earlier, where it was no longer formulaic. We had to go on.
I feel like the leaks help with that, though. If everyone knew exactly what was going to happen with the cube the moment it hit the ground in Chapter 1, it wouldn't have been exciting. And now everything just gets leaked.
On an experience day in and day out. It was lively, it was moving, it was something that you could talk about and try to theory craft on what was going to go down instead of just kind of being spoon-fed the information.
See, I feel like that goes hand in hand with leaks. Like, the storyline and those, like, mysterious things aren't mysterious anymore because everything just gets leaked. But I feel like they kind of tried to make, like, those cute, like, things with, like, the sprites at the start of Chapter 6. And people liked the sprites, but it wasn't as much as, like, Colombo, I guess, or, like, the llamas initially. And then even the roly-polies this season, like, obviously they're a vehicle, but I feel like that was also, like, an attempt to, like, fill that niche.
At number 13, I'd love to see more Easter eggs and secret challenges. Earlier in this chapter, we had so many Easter eggs to start off. We had the sprites and lifting them in front of the gates to let people in. We had all sorts of cool things that if you hopped on and engaged with and played, you got to see these things, and all of them trended and went viral, and you'd want to go take part in the...
There was, like, the hidden room at Flooded Frogs. There was, like, the hidden room at Outlaw Oasis. The, what's it called? The sprite that you would give Bush Ranger at... The name of that POI that I always say incorrectly. I can't even remember it at all anymore. But yeah, there was, like, the sprite you could give Bush Ranger to get the key to the vault to open up. Like, Chapter 6 actually had a lot of that at the start, but it just went away over time. Nightshade Forest, that's what it was. But I call it Nightshade, but it was actually Night Shift, and that is, like, my ultimate Mandela effect, is I thought for sure it was Shade. But I feel like they did a lot of this really good at the start of Chapter 6, and it just kind of went away over time. Which, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, a majority of the work goes into the initial version of the map, and then everything from that is just kind of, like, not as in-depth. Kind of always seems like the launch iteration of a map is best.
The experience yourself, you know, the little area,
Yeah.
Flooded Frogs, where you had to use the Void Oni mask to get on through. We had the turtles where you could go and interact with. Whereas now, in this season, all of that's gone. They've completely done away with all of those things, and it just makes the map feel less lively. At number 14, we have to cut down on leaks in Fortnite. Right now, leaks...
How many of these things have I just talked about how leaks kind of ruin it? And I like leaks. I follow this stuff. It's interesting to talk about and discuss, but it does kill a lot of mystery, a lot of hype, a lot of momentum the game could have when we just know everything in advance.
Spoil all the big things and kind of give away everything that's to come in Fortnite. I want to see Epic do everything they can to internally attack leaks, find ways to shut down leaks, and really
got it out for Hypex and Sheena.
Make it where the big reveals happen in front of our eyes in Fortnite versus through Twitter threads and random TikToks. And
I remember at the end of Chapter 2, I knew the Foundation was played by The Rock before that reveal happened, but I don't know if the map flip leaked. And then for Fortnite OG, I don't remember how much that leaked in advance. It was kind of hinted at in the game with, like, the time machine being set to that date and everything, and it kind of seemed like that was going to happen, but I don't know if it, like, heavy leaked. Last year, we obviously had the roadmap leak, where we had several seasons and stuff leaked in advance, and I feel like that kind of ruined a lot of stuff.
And articles that come out. At number 15, this has actually already been...
This season, for example, we knew the bugs were going to be a thing before it happened. It wasn't like... When Superman, like, killed that tentacle and then the bugs came out or whatever, it wasn't like, holy crap, what is that? Because we already knew it was going to happen. Same with Star Wars, like, we knew that was going to happen.
Confirmed as I'm beginning to record this video. We've got to relaunch ranked and overhaul the system with better incentives. We need to rank above Unreal to keep people grinding once they get Unreal. Right now, once you get Unreal, people just quit or they stop caring about how they play. We have to make it harder to rank up to Unreal. We have to make it where people can fall out of Unreal if they're performing poorly. We have to make it where there's kind of less ranked experiences because the player base is getting split too thin. In my opinion, when the new ranked season of Battle Royale comes out, ranked reload should be shut off for about 6 weeks or shouldn't be updated So
That's actually, I agree with that, but that's very controversial.
everyone floods into ranked battle royale. Give us incredible rewards. Give us an emoticon for free that we can kind of show off what our top rank is to show the difference between an Unreal.
I think they have that. Isn't there like that? There's an emote for ranked that shows your rank, but no one cares about it.
Player at 200,000 versus an Unreal player in the top 1,000 at number 16.
But the whole like disabling reload ranked to drive people to play BR ranked at the start of the season, I think would actually be very good. Like the amount of weeks could be like, you know, shifted around. But let's say hypothetically a new season drops, BR ranked and zero build BR ranked are the only ranked experiences, and you have like that serious community kind of pushed towards that game mode. I think that would create a lot of hype and interest in that and make the player count much healthier. But also, if you re-enable reload ranked towards the end of the season when everybody's kind of losing interest, then you get another uptick in players because people are like, hey, reload ranked is back. And I feel like that's something that like having all these other game modes should have helped the game a lot, but they kind of do it weirdly, where I feel like a lot of times the OG season comes out at the same time as a BR season, and that should just not be how it is. Like, the BR season should drop, and that should be the hot new thing, and then maybe halfway through a new OG season comes out, and then like 3/4 of the way through a new reload map comes out, and if they staggered those releases, then you would get people kind of... Each game mode would have its hype moment, and they wouldn't be like competing with each other to the same degree, and you would keep the player base happier throughout. Whereas if they just drop everything at once, then like everyone just goes towards like the thing they like most. Like I haven't cared about OG at all, but if it came out at times like right now where the game is kind of dull, if they just drop season 5 OG next week, I would maybe try it out just because it's like the interesting thing for that week.
We need improvements to UEFN, and we need them fast. You know, the vision for Epic was to create this metaverse
stuff
where
I don't
people
know about.
downloaded individual Fortnite UEFN.
I personally don't ever really see myself being interested very much in the mini games and stuff. Like I am BR or BR adjacent modes are the thing that interests me most, and I feel like it'll always be that way.
And experiences. In my opinion, there's no UEFN experiences that are worth downloading
Steal the brain rot, bro.
120 gigabytes of Fortnite. There's no thin client yet like Roblox. If you want to play a certain Roblox mode, you can just download that mode and sign right in. Whereas on Fortnite, thin client isn't here yet, and UEFN keeps having major delays. They've delayed so many things. And I think instead of that system being big enough to draw in new players to download Fortnite, the focus on UEFN, I feel like, has taken away from keeping Battle Royale great, which is still what keeps people downloading Fortnite. These other modes don't have enough pull yet to get people to download Fortnite just to play brain rot.
Come on, everyone's downloading brain rot. 125k players. But this is like the only creative map I feel like that is like transcended the game somewhat. And the only up map when it first came out, I feel like it got a lot of hype and a lot of interest. But yeah, these modes, like I said, it's not something that would interest me in the long term. Like I view them as just like something that's like maybe interesting to play. Like I actually quite enjoyed the Fortnite only up map with like the different areas being themed around the old seasons. But it's not like I'm going to get on every day and play that. I played it when it came out. I did it, and like I go on with my life, you know?
Simulator or a tycoon. That's not... People aren't downloading Fortnite just to play those. It's not at that point yet. At number 17, we've got to give creators better tools. You know, back in chapter 4, we had something called Creative Royale, where the top creators could interact with the Fortnite Battle Royale map, give ourselves unique tools like the ability to fly around or shut off the storm or kind of move around and do...
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Hide and seeks and Simon Says and all sorts of creative videos. Well, now all of that is gone. We have to go in and hope we get a zone pull or hope that we get the POI where we want it to be. And then on top of that, we have to hope we don't get griefed by a 14-year-old or get griefed by someone who just comes in and kills the lobby because we can't make ourselves invincible. And instead of creators being able to make these videos that have amassed hundreds of millions of views across top...
Okay, yeah, that's true. This is not content that I at all have any sort of interest in watching or making or participating in. Like, it's just not my thing. And a lot of people would probably look at this and be like, that stuff's stupid and dumb. But there is clearly people that enjoy watching that. So, like, he is right to an extent. And, like, having those tools there, it's not like it hurts anything. maybe it hurts in the sense that dev time has to go into it, but it's not like negatively impacting the game, even if you think this content is stupid.
Creators channels to bring eyes and excitement to battle royale. We're just very pigeonholed, and we never got new tools to make up for it. So that's kind of left us very few ways to make engaging content around the battle royale. Number 18, we need a better profile system. You know, people have been playing Fortnite Battle Royale now for 8 years, and really there's no way to show off your achievements. Think about everything you've done, the thousands of wins you've gotten, the tens of thousands of eliminations, maybe your favorite skin, maybe your highest rank, maybe badges for showing off that you were part of so many different incredible Fortnite events. Imagine if you could click on someone, view their profile, and see something that they set up showing badges for taking part in events, showing what their highest rank was, showing basically creativity, almost like a social media profile to say, hey, here's everything I've
You got to go to a different website to see all that called Fortnite Tracker.
done in Fortnite. And it could amass their eliminations, kind of like what they have on Apex Legends, but really more like the Halo 3 service record. You know, back
Bro, people cared about their like file share back in the day.
in Halo 3 in 2007, you could show off your character, your highest rank, what level you beat the campaign on, what you've achieved in the game, your favorite screenshots, your favorite clips. All of that was downloadable and possible through the file share system. It was so far ahead of its time, and I think Fortnite could really see people wanting to celebrate their long road.
But yeah, that's not something that's gonna bring people back to the game, but it's like one of those things that, like, if it's there, it kind of does add value and maybe keep people interesting and like add somewhat subconscious value of people, like, you know, caring about that or having pride in that stuff.
Robust history with the game. At number 19, I want to see an overhaul to the menu UI. It is so confusing to load up Fortnite and find exactly what you want to play.
I feel like it's like casinos. They try to make it just like weird to navigate to make you get lost in some nonsense.
Even right now, when I sign on, it's like finding zero build is like finding a needle in a haystack, or finding new experiences is still so tough.
Hold on, chat. The easiest, oh, hold on. Does he not show it?
UI. It is so
the easiest way to find the things you like playing and usually play would be to click this little button right here, and then it'll have your recently played. But yeah, it is a struggle sometimes. But this little button on the left with the 3 lines, you click that, you'll easily find your recently played.
confusing to load up Fortnite and find exactly what you want to play. Even right now, when I sign on, it's like finding zero build is like finding a needle in a haystack, or finding new experiences is still so tough to do. Discovery seems so behind the ball compared to other modes, where it's still just the same top game modes because there's no discovery into new things. You know, I want to see and get fed really cool solo experiences, or get shown, you know, things I might like that are way different genres, instead of just the same red versus blue or the same thing. At number 20, the number one thing that Fortnite could give to save the game is give Courage JD an icon skin.
All right. But yeah, I think that video was interesting, and a lot of those points were very good. Number 20, the most important. If Courage had an icon skin, the game would not be dying right now. But because there is no Courage skin, the game is dying. But that is going to be it. Let me know what you guys thought. Like I said, I thought these points were interesting. A lot of people have been talking about how the game is in a bad state, but I feel like people aren't talking about as much like the things that could be done. And I think it's better to talk about like the things that could be done, or ways the game could be positively improved. The fact that the VP of Epic replied to this video, I think it makes the future, you know, potentially better. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.